good? What's good? Hip hop, what's good? It's your boy Robb D, aka Robb DIggie, BKA Robb D in the place to be, also known as at the real Robb DIggie on Instagram. What's good, everybody? This will be the first time. Let's see, I've done 50 episodes of podcasting. This will be the first time I'm actually riding the ship solo. So just your boy Rob on here. This is the first time doing things solo, and it feels kind of weird, you know what I mean? But it's all good. It's for the love, and we still continue to push along, and we do this for hip hop, for all of our followers, supporters, and listeners all over the world. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you so much for your love and support. As you can tell from my virtual background, I am in the gateway to the West, and we're going to be talking about Nelly, one of the rappers that put a particular city, St. Louis, Missouri, on the hip hop map. Lots of great things to be excited for right now. Lots of things happening for us around our business. So thank you to Shay Cypher that was interviewing Just this past week. I told you I'm going to shout you out, family. Appreciate you for that, for the love and support, showing us, appreciating our art form and what we do to keep the culture alive. It's always a blessing to have been made a platform for everybody to talk about hip hop music, hip hop culture. And Nelly is a part of that story as well, whether you want to accept it or not. He is a part of the hip hop story. And real name is Cornell Hayes Jr. Changed the world of hip hop, flipped it on his back end. And I got a couple of facts here real quick that I want to jump into before I talk to you all about my thoughts about Nelly and his impact on hip hop. So Nelly in his trophy case has 4 American Music Awards, 1 BET Award, 9-time Billboard Award winner, 3-time Grammy Award winner, 1-time VMA, 3-time Soul Train Award winner. The albums I'm going to be talking about during this particular episode is one of the 11 diamond albums in hip hop, Country Grammar, released in June of 2000. The self-titled song Country Grammar was a smash hit back in the year 2000. Ride With Me, E.I., For My, featuring Lil Wayne, Batter Up, Loving Me in St. Louis, just a great way to introduce the culture of St. Louis into the world. And Nelly kind of came out of nowhere. I don't even know, he wasn't featured on anything beforehand. He just dropped Country Grammar and the world went by storm in the year 2000. And he was able to push that in EI and push that album to diamond sales. So if you don't know what diamond sales is in Billboard, that is selling over 10 million albums. So there's only 11 albums in the history of hip hop to achieve that feat. Country Grammar is one of them. Just to give you all some context. Next up is Nellyville, released in June 2002, 6 times platinum. Hot in Here, Pimp Juice, Air Force One, Dilemma featuring Kelly Rowland, Rock the Mic remix with Beanie Siegel, produced by Just Blaze. Freeways on there as well. Dope track. And then there's a #1 song on there, which was a subliminal diss to KRS-One. I'm going to jump into that here in a little bit, give you all some context around that. And then September of 2004, he had Sweatsuit, 4 times platinum, which was Flap Your Wings. Anytime Nelly gets on there with the Neptunes is always dope. So Flap Your Wings was one of them. Tilt Your Head Back featuring Christina Aguilera was on Sweat. On Suit, he had Play It Off, and They Say Over and Over, which was a smash hit, a kind of a crossover hit with hip hop and country music with Tim McGraw. Huge smash hit back in 2004. And then Nelly released Brass Knuckles in September of 2008 with Hold Up featuring T.I. and LL Cool J, L.I.E. He had Party People featuring Fergie, Body on Me featuring Akon and Ashanti, which was a smash hit. One of my favorites off there is Stepping on My J's featuring JD and Sierra. We're talking about Air Jordan sneakers and sneaker profiling, and Let Go Mama featuring the Neptunes. So that is the premise of our discussion for today. And of course, I'm representing Nelly. I got my bandage on my face, you know what I mean? And if anybody knows the story behind that, or if you don't know, I'll enlighten you. So when Nelly first put the bandage on, he first got hurt in a basketball game. And then he decided to keep it because this boy that was doing a 10-year bid, his name was Lavelle Webb. And he was going off to jail for 10 years, and he decided to keep it on his face. Lavelle got out in 2008 after he was done his time to society, and then he got out. So that's why he wore the bandage as a symbol to his homeboy, aka City Spud. So that's the reason why he wore that, be part of the St. Lunatics. And that's the premise for me talking to you all today. And I think where I want to go with this conversation with you all is about Nelly and his impact on hip hop. And when I think about Nelly, I don't think that he is the best lyricist out there. There are plenty of other lyricists from the Midwest that would outshine him. But what made Nelly unique to me in hip hop is the way he came out. Literally just came out of left field. No one really knew about him. He didn't have much of a buzz or any features. He came out, he did it his way. He didn't sacrifice his art. He didn't sacrifice his city. He had the backing of this city, and he was well known and well respected, and just came out and did hip hop his way with kind of like the Southern drawl, with the dirty drawl and her and there. And, you know, I mean, I thought it was kind of strange at first, but it was a hit. And he stuck with it, and the formula worked, you know, going into the future. So I think that when you talk about Nelly and hip hop, he's got a long history. If you all just saw the recent versus battle with Fat Joe and Ja Rule, he was on there doing a feature with on Fat Joe's side of the house, and he's still performing, doing live shows, and he's still around. You know what I mean? He's done a lot for hip hop and hip hop culture. But when it comes to musically and hip hop, he gets a lot of flack, and I'm going to talk about some of that flack here in a little bit. And the reason why I'm going to talk about that is because when you're talking about Nelly, not only do you have to talk about the good, you have to talk about the bad as well. So when it comes to Nelly, he was probably in the new Millennium, one of those rappers that kind of what I would say made hip hop and hip and pop. So it really wasn't hip hop, it was more hip hop. And I say that not in a negative sense, but this was one of those things to where you really didn't know if you could take him seriously as a rapper. You know, I saw a couple of his freestyles, and I think a lot of the freestyles were memorized, which is okay. I mean, like, you know, a lot of freestyle rappers, you know, memorize their rhymes and kind of go off with the beat. But I think that he just had a presence about him. But the reason I'm going to say it's a hit on Nelly and his legacy is because I don't know if he really made hip hop music for fans of hip hop culture, if that makes sense. So here's a good example. Hot in Here, Nelly, EI, you know, some of the other ones he had, you know, some of the R&B joints he had, him and Tim McGraw were over and over again. Those are not really geared toward a hip hop sounding sound or hip hop culture or hip hop fans, right? So he kind of made those songs in essence to capture in more of the pop side of the house. And I mean, I don't think there's right or wrong reason behind that. But when you do that, to me, later on down the road, that stuff kind of catches up with you, and the culture is going to, you know, kind of figure out, okay, well, what is he really doing? Is he really about the culture, or is he really just about, you know, not really necessarily faking to be an MC, but just not really staying to the roots of hip hop and hip hop culture? So that would be, to me, one of the strikes that I would have on Nelly. But however, the other flip side of that coin is Nelly, he was hot with the ladies. He was ladies' man, definitely kept his body in shape. You know, had brothers still going to the gym and working out and those kinds of things. So, you know what I mean? Like, I can't take away from what Nelly, he kind of reminded me of a young or a new generation of LL Cool J, except LL was a way better rapper. But he kind of reminded me of that, showing off his body, and, you know, he's always in shape, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, having a shirt off, and there's nothing wrong with that, man. If you got a good looking body, show it off. Nothing wrong with that. Drives the ladies crazy. But I just think that as a lyricist, you know, and other hip hop heads out there can probably attest to this. I don't think when you think about Nelly, did you put Nelly in your top 15 or top 20 or maybe even top 50 MCs of all time? But, you know, a lot of that can be said for some other rappers that we're going to have on this season, not necessarily the best rappers, but still left an imprint on the world of hip hop. And, you know, with Nelly and this transitioning to doing movies and TV shows and things like that, and going into the future, I think that it was great. He had a lot of great chemistry with other rappers. He had the St. Lunatics crew. You know, he was responsible for Chingy, and out of some of the other ones, not Chingy, I'm sorry, shoot, Chingy came from St. Louis. But Chingy was part of ZTP. I apologize. But, you know, he was, you know, I wouldn't say maybe he recruited Chingy. I'm not really exactly sure what the relationship was, but Chingy was definitely had a relationship with Nelly, and which is great to see hip hop in a different area of the United States, getting some shine and some praise. And Nelly is responsible for putting St. Louis on the hip hop map, period. Some of my favorite battle rappers are from St. Louis. So shout out to A-Verb, shout out to Hitman Holla, who I always watch on the URL, always represent St. Louis to the fullest. So if you guys ever see this, mad respect to you guys. And then showing love always to Nelly for putting St. Louis hip hop on the map. But when it comes to this particular episode, one of the things I want to stress about this is when we talk about the flip, the good and the bad, right? So I don't know if you guys have ever seen Nelly's video from 2003, which was the EI remix called the Tip Drill remix. So I'm not even going to speak on that. However, if you guys remember a show on BET that used to come on like late night, like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, it was called Uncut. And that was the only time you could ever see the Tip Drill remix. And I'm not going to talk about the controversy behind that video. You guys go out there and see it, watch it for yourselves. And for those of you that remember what I'm referring to, you might know that he caught a lot of flack about a particular scene in that video, probably one of the raunchiest videos ever created in hip hop. But if, for today's time, it's kind of like, we kind of seen it, been it all. There's so many other, raunchy, sexually explicit rappers out there now that where Tip Drill probably wouldn't be like in in the stratosphere with some of the stuff that's going on now. But I will say this on the record, Tip Drill remix, probably one of, if not the top 3 raunchiest videos in the history of hip hop. So Nelly was able to navigate that. He was able to get past that. And he made great music further along in his career. But when he got to Brass Knuckles at the end of the 2000s, hip hop shifted again. And his Brass Knuckles album didn't do as well commercial wise, what he was used to doing when it comes to Billboard success. I didn't even think it went gold, actually. Sold over 200,000 albums. But I actually liked the Brass Knuckles album. I went back and listened to it this week. And I'm like, dang, like this was actually pretty good stuff on here. Like, I don't know why it didn't catch commercial success, Body on Me with Akon and Ashanti. He was dating Ashanti at the time, and Ashanti is beautiful. She has a beautiful voice. If you all didn't see Ashanti in the verses this past week, beautiful woman, beautiful voice. And it's just crazy how he didn't really get the flip in hip hop again. The hip hop changed again going into the late 2000s. And, it was an upcoming of, a lot of creative things. And Nelly kind of just wanted to stick to the formula. But when you stick to the formula, you have to be able to adapt. And that could be, per se, for some that might think of Nelly later on in the 2000s, why his career musically didn't really adapt with the times. But I will tell you all on the record that in the early 2000s, I say between 2000 and 2004, I don't think there's any other MC that sold more records, maybe other than Jay-Z or Eminem. Like, this man has sold millions and millions of records. He is definitely a staple in the world of hip hop. And I love Nelly. I'm a huge fan of Nelly. I love anytime that the country grammar comes on, with the drums and the kick and his draw, and he's so energized. He's hyped up. He's ready to go. Like, he definitely draws a crowd, and he gets mad respect from me and mad love on this platform about Nelly. And a lot of times when I put these seasons together, I put together the 15 most influential artists in a particular time period. Now, can you talk about the 2000s without mentioning Nelly? I don't think you can get away with it, to be honest with you guys. Nelly is such a staple in hip hop. His story is just incredible, from where he came from to where he is to where he's going. And we wish Nelly all the best and love and success that he can handle now heading into the future. And for other St. Louis rappers that came up through him, through his legacy and the big trail that he left behind for others to get on. So that is, and then my final thoughts about Nelly, you guys, when we think about the legacy of Nelly in hip hop, we think about someone that did it his way, didn't have if you think about the city of St. Louis, that's where Cedric the Entertainer is from, Red Fox, St. Louis Blues, more of a sports town with the Cardinals. We didn't really think about St. Louis as hip hop, and even myself included. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. So we really didn't think of St. Louis as being a city known for hip hop, but Nelly changed all of that. He changed all of our minds. He made awesome, timeless music. And it's still going to be around till, 25, 30 years from now. We're still going to be talking about Nelly and his impact. And he's still, if you all seen like commercials nowadays, I think Nelly has an endorsement with Burger King. I just saw that just recently, man. So the brother's still out there, still getting it done. So massive salute to you, Nelly, and your whole crew. Shout out to Murphy Lee as well, too. Just shout out to all the St. Lunatics, that whole movement, because you all made an imprint on hip hop. And that is the reason why I am under the gateway to the West right now, paying homage to what you all have done. And Nelly was at the forefront of putting hip hop on the map in the city of St. Louis. So with that in mind, you guys, that's pretty much all I have for this week. As all that we have been doing, we definitely want to pay homage real quick to the life and memory of Breonna Taylor. Season 4 is dedicated to the life and memory of her. So definitely we need justice for Breonna Taylor. It will be chanted every single week in, week out. And then definitely want to pay homage to that. And as I go into the shout out portion this week, shout out to real short, man. Shout out to the Queen Jess, always holding us down. Misconnected Dots is her new coin phrase. Gotta look out for her, doing great things. I love you, babe. Thank you for everything that you've done for me, done for our family. And always being the rock that holds this whole entire thing down and being the anchor. Shout out to my mom too. Mom, if you're watching, I know Nelly's your favorite rapper. So shout out to you. I love you, Ma. You know, one of these days, hopefully I can get the chance to meet Nelly and have him shout you out one of these days. You know what I mean? So I know you're watching, Ma. So I love you. And shout out to all of our fans, followers, and supporters. And shout out to Shay Cypher this week interviewing Jess. So I told you I was going to shout you out, my dude. We'll meet you on later on during the season. Can't wait to meet you, brother. Tremendous success to you and your movement and your team as well. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all that I have for this week. Next week, what we are going to be talking about is a particular rapper from the Bronx, New York, that is from Trinity Ave and was a part of the new numbers as they came in, which is part of one half of the biggest verses in the history of verses. And I'm not going to say any names. You all can figure it out if you guys have been watching verses and popular culture. So look out for that next week, you guys. I love you. Stay safe. And as always, keep hip hop in your foremost in your minds. And as always, keep social injustice at the forefront also as well. So you guys stay cool, stay safe, stay hip hop. I'll be out. 100. Peace.